There it is.
And we're live.
Ow. Oh, come on, YouTube, you piece of shit. Oh, there you are. Yes. All right. Got a few people up in this mother anyway. Already. Let's say hi. You were just typing what, Becca? Hi, Katya. Welcome.
Katya came over even though she doesn't know football. Thanks for coming.
So, welcome everyone to Fantasy Football, Not Suitable for Work. I am Bill. We are without Maya and Sam tonight. Maya passed out. Understandable. He's working 100 hours a week, 7 days a week in Houston. So I've got my brother Chris. Say hi, Chris.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Well, let me just jump right in. I'll talk about my team in a minute, but you've been a Jacksonville Jaguars fan for a long time, and when was the last time you were feeling this good 3 weeks into a season?
10 years ago, 2007.
Yeah, it's been a minute. God damn. I'm going to give you credit here because you were at my house on Saturday. I picked Baltimore to win that game, and you told me that Baltimore was going to get their ass kicked. And then as I was driving to the casino that day, I started thinking about it. And I actually agreed with you. And I called our other brother, Nick, and said, Chris has Jags winning this game pretty easily. And he got me thinking about it. I think he's right. And, I mean, the shit I woke up to on Sunday morning, the defense is legit. I mean, Jalen Ramsey might be the best defensive player in the league right now.
If you go and really look at the stats, they are the number one pass defense. Like all the fantasy matchups, you don't want to play against Jacksonville. Now,
Nope.
if you're like Tennessee, who they're that smash mouth run team, man. So like they blew through Jacksonville. If you're not a running team, Jacksonville's gonna own you. They've held Houston and Baltimore to 7 points. Tennessee got out of control.
Yeah. And that's a weird, it's a divisional opponent that you haven't really matched up well against for many years. So that's understandable. But I think when you start looking at the thing I was thinking about was how similar Baltimore and Houston are as a team. You know what I mean? Inconsistent QB play, nothing terribly great in their run game. And I just started thinking, well, I mean, this is shaping up to be the same kind of defensive disaster. You know what I mean? You guys just gave them a shellacking. It was incredible. So the Jaguars defense is legit. And when Bortles isn't fucking up, you got something going there. I mean, I do find it funny that like once a year, Mercedes Lewis has a fucking Hall of Fame game, and then you never hear from him again.
Yeah. See, the thing with
You're like a
Bortles,
37-year-old tight end,
The thing with Bortles is like he gets into a groove and he'll have a few good games. He just needs to avoid the turnover games this year.
Yep.
And he has so far, and he's looked good. And Mercedes Lewis, everyone's going to pick him up on waivers this week thinking, oh, God, he's the
Don't do
future. And they're an idiot if they do that.
Don't do it. Leonard Fournette's like the only one I'm playing on Jacksonville. And he's living up
Lee's
to
a
it.
good option.
Yeah, in deeper leagues, I think. Like Alan Hearns actually outperformed him this week. He's kind of a London guy anyway, but you know what?
So Alan Hearns is touchdown dependent, I think, and Marquise Lee gets 30% of the team's targets. So he's worth a shot. Like if you're in like a 10-team league, I think he's worth throwing on your bench and seeing if it stays that way.
Fair enough. I do like Leonard Fournette though. He's turning out to be that guy you needed. So I'll echo your sentiments. If they can avoid the turnovers, your team could do some damage.
I haven't felt excited about the middle of the season in a long time.
Yeah, thank you for joining, Tar. Tar Brihan says, I don't know how I've missed these chats up till now. If they are nearly as good as the slot chats, it should be awesome. We try and have fun around here. I mean, you'll see there's some people in the chat that don't even really know much about football, and they come to hang out, so you'll have a good time. Okay, so moving on. So nice win. Nice 2-1 start. It's feeling good. Let's just jump right into the Eagles gear that I'm donning. It was a close one. I really thought the Eagles defense was just going to tee off on Eli Manning all day, and for some reason, like they couldn't. I think they were hurrying him, but they didn't ever got to him. You know what I mean? They weren't sacking him at all. But
that's almost all you need against Eli.
It is. We had a couple of picks, and it was a shutout through almost 3 quarters. You know what I mean? I think actually into the 4th quarter. And then, they put up 24 points. OBJ went off, and then, we had a missed coverage where Sterling Shepard had a long touchdown, and it just like that. All of a sudden, they get a bunch of points. But the Eagles persevered. They came back, got a touchdown of their own. I'd been talking to Nick a little bit about that rookie Corey Clement already. He looked good on the ground. He had that 3rd touchdown for the Eagles. And then, Carson Wentz, I was really impressed. He connected on a very difficult shot to Alshon Jeffrey to put them in field goal range. And Alshon Jeffrey, being the veteran he is, stepped out of bounds and left 1 second on the clock. And, the right move was, regardless of results, the right move, I think, was to give the kicker a chance to hit a 61-yarder and put the game away.
Especially if your kicker's got the leg, like give him a shot.
Yeah.
And let me add on, like Alshon Jeffrey is probably the best thing they could have done for Carson Wentz. Giving him someone to win jump balls, to be like that receiver that he can go to when he has no one, has been like, you're going to see the results this year, man. Like you guys are going to go to the playoffs, and it's going to be because Wentz progressed enough to get there.
Mm-hmm. I will tell you, though, there's a lot to talk about in this game, but I don't want to spend too much time. Darren Sproles got hurt. He tore his ACL and broke his forearm in one play.
Oh, God.
He's done for the year. He said today that there's going to be a comeback, so it sounds like he's not trying to retire, but we'll see. Tough loss for the Eagles. Tough loss for the NFL. But that left us with 3 RBs. Now they've signed Kenyon Barner, who's basically a return specialist. You know what I mean? He's probably not going to get any reps with the offense. But you never know. But really, I don't know how much you watched, but LeGarrette Blount, he ran the ball with some power. Like his stats don't jump off the page, but let me tell you, there's a few runs in there you can see he did exactly what they brought him in to do. And Doug Peterson is a frustrating coach because he doesn't do enough just running LeGarrette Blount right down the middle. I mean, he can shake people right off of him and get those extra yards after contact.
Yeah,
anything to add?
I actually didn't watch the game, but just I know based off of just the history with LeGarrette Blount, like his stats never jump off unless he's getting touchdowns. But just the way he runs, like he is the perfect complement to someone like Darren Sproles, who is one of my favorite players in the league with how shifty he is, the receiver he is. So, yeah, I believe it. Like he probably was getting the first downs you guys needed on the ground, right?
Yeah, I think he can live up to the expectation. The problem is, Doug Peterson doesn't really stick to the game plan. You know what I mean? Like, as much as I love Darren Sproles, in week 2, he had the most touches. It's like you can't have Carson Wentz throwing the ball 50 times a game and then, Darren Sproles being your lead back with, 8 carries or whatever. Like, so it's very frustrating when they don't try and stick to a run game and they try and bring in all these interchangeable pieces. You know what I mean? It's not successful. It's not successful the way like you think about like the Falcons run game. You know what I mean? Where Devontae Freeman is the workhorse, with the exception of Tevin Coleman coming in on certain passing down plays or in relief. But overall, it's not really a committee as much as there's a lead back and then there's a guy that comes in. But Tevin Coleman also valuable, or like Fournette. You know what I mean? Like these are your successful running attacks in the league. The shit that you always see with the Eagles, where like on the stat sheet, there's 5 different running backs that have carries in the game. You know what I mean? It's like
yeah, definitely.
Enough is enough. Enough is enough. So I'll move on. Really happy that the guy that came off Cincinnati's practice squad 2 weeks ago nailed a 61-yard walk-off field goal with 1 second left as the clock expired, actually.
Great finish. They want us to talk about the Redskins game. That's what I keep seeing on here in the chat.
Redskins versus KC?
Well, I guess that's coming up, but...
Oh, yeah.
Redskins...
Yeah.
God, who did they even play this week?
They played Oakland on Sunday night.
Oh, that's right.
They smacked them. I don't think.
What was that?
I'll tell you what it was. First of all, Washington is a good football team, right?
Yeah.
They lost a couple of receiving options this year, but that's okay. I mean, they got a good QB. They got a good O-line. They have a good defense. And they were at home, and I think it's just one of those fluky things where, Washington hadn't played their best football yet, and then Oakland had to travel across country, you know what I mean, and playing away. It's just it's fluky shit like it's the same way Chicago beats Pittsburgh, and you know what I mean. Yeah. Stuff happens. Sometimes you just can't explain it. Or like the Jets absolutely smacking the Dolphins. No one saw that coming.
I'll tell you, the traveling across the country, I think people underestimate the impact that can have on a team. And also, it's really impressive with what Washington did, and they didn't even have Jordan Reed out there. Like, he's pretty much been irrelevant this season in that offense.
Yep. So was Terrell Pryor.
Yeah, Chris Thompson has been amazing. He's out of fucking control, man.
It's insane. He's just, every time he touches the ball, you know what I mean? Something good's happening. I think that will regress. He'll come back down to earth, but it's impressive nonetheless.
He's someone, if you're holding on to him, you try to trade him now while you've got some value. He's a sell high for sure, but he's got value the rest of the season based off of the kind of touches he's going to get. He's their only guy who can catch the ball.
Yeah. But really, when you look at the NFC East, you've got the Eagles at top 2-1, but they're 2-0 in the division. And then Cowboys and Skins are both also 2-1. So it's tight. And I think that makes sense because all three they're not perfect teams, any of them, but they're good teams and they can all win games. So it's going to get interesting down the stretch, I think, in the NFC East. But yeah, anyway, it's just a fluke. I mean, I'm not worried about if you own Amari Cooper, Crabtree, or Carr, or Lynch. You're still playing those guys every week. You know what I mean? It's just a fluky week. What are you going to do? Not going to put too much into it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I did want to give you credit. I actually had it in my little notes here on my Post-it. Give you credit on that Jags game because you saw it. And I just called Nick. I said, you know what, Chris? He's good about this. Not necessarily like that you pick every single game correctly, but when you have a real strong case for why one team is going to win, like you're almost always right. It's,
I'm just glad I'm being right about my own team. It's nice to have that.
Let me talk about. I don't know. Did you see the bet that me and Maya had
No, I didn't.
on the last show? Okay.
Oh wait, maybe I did. Remind me.
So, where Maya talked about how he was going to sit LaShawn McCoy.
Oh yes, I did see that. Fuck, man.
All right. We got to bring this up. And Maya's asleep, so he's not here to defend himself. So that's good. That means I've got the floor. I can say a few things that are on my mind. So just to recap, Maya started talking about how he's going to sit LaShawn McCoy, and I said you should never sit LaShawn McCoy. I don't care what the matchup is. He brought up, the Broncos being a tough D. And by the way, let me take a little right-hand turn. Those guys will tell you, they've been going so hard on the Broncos, and I said, you know what? Let's see how they do on the road. It's one thing to be dominant like that at home, but now they got to travel. You know what I mean, and play in a different environment. And we saw what happened. I still think the Broncos are a good team. I'm not saying that, but to your point earlier, like people underestimate what it means to travel across the country and play an away game. It's, you know what I mean? It changes things. So anyway, Maya says he's going to sit LaShawn McCoy. I said, that's ridiculous. There's no reason to sit LaShawn McCoy. We ended up doing a bet, and the bet was this. The bet was this. I bet him that because he said the guy he was going with was Christian McCaffrey. I'm not quite sure what the roster looks like off the top of my head that it was between Christian McCaffrey or LaShawn McCoy.
That seems weird to me.
It does seem weird to me as well, but I think maybe he probably has like a CJ Anderson or something that he got late. But anyway, let me just pull up the stats here. I said, that's ridiculous. I'm playing LaShawn McCoy over him, and then we came down to Tariq Cohen too. I said I'll take Tariq Cohen over Christian McCaffrey.
Tariq Cohen's the man right now.
Exactly. Well, so let me just get to the look. A bet's a bet, and I lost the bet, so I'm not making excuses. But I gotta tell you, like, it's pretty fluky. The bet was Tariq Cohen would outscore Christian McCaffrey, and LaShawn McCoy would outscore Christian McCaffrey in our league, half-point PPR. And if both of those things happened, that Maya had to shave off his beard. But if Christian McCaffrey outscored both of my players, LaShawn McCoy and Tariq Cohen, then I had to shave my beard. And Maya won. And let me just, go over a couple things here. So Kelvin Benjamin snapped his knee in freaking half. Did you see that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Early. So he goes out of the game, and Greg Olson's already out for basically the season. So what do you think happens there? Christian McCaffrey, leads the team in targets.
He had, 12 targets, 11 targets?
Yeah, he finished with 17.2 points in our half-point PPR league. He had 9 catches for 101 yards. On the ground, he only got 4 carries for 16 yards. But, yeah, all of a sudden he ends up getting fucking, like 15 targets or whatever. And he got it done in the passing game. I still think my logic was right in this situation, but the result was bad. Because, even though Maya thought that the matchup was wrong for LaShawn McCoy, let's just take a look at his stats. He had 14 carries for 21 yards and 7 catches for 48 yards. He scored 10.4, which is about, like, this is what I'm thinking. Christian McCaffrey hadn't really done anything yet through the first 2 weeks, but LaShawn McCoy basically hit his floor. He didn't find the end zone, but just based on his usage, he got over 10 points. And if he would have found the end zone, he'd be a 16-point play. And that's right, pretty much what we expect from LaShawn McCoy, right?
Yeah, well, yeah, he's matchup proof. If 10 points is a floor, you'll take that. But
absolutely,
he's one of those running backs that you start no matter what, and sometimes you may hate the matchup, but you still start him because he's LaShawn McCoy.
So check this out. So then Tariq Cohen finishes with 12.2 points. His line was 12 carries for 78 yards and 4 catches for 24 yards. He actually had a touchdown get called back in overtime. Did you see this?
I didn't see the overtime, no.
Maybe it was in the fourth quarter, but I feel like it was overtime. Anyway, he stepped out of bounds at like the 37-yard line.
Ugh.
If he hadn't stepped out of bounds, he would have easily beaten Christian McCaffrey. And you see the usage I'm talking about. I mean, he was their second best receiver, and then he had 12 carries for 78 yards. He's getting a ton of work as a backup running back. You know what I mean? He's just, especially in half-point PPR, I really like Tariq Cohen. And
definitely.
I view him and LaShawn McCoy as like the same, in just that they're sitting at like that 10-point floor with, more potential if they're able to find the end zone. Neither of them found the end zone, and they both cleared 10 points. Christian McCaffrey.
I'm going to disagree with you on like putting them on the same level of floor, because Tariq Cohen's he's still a second running back in Chicago.
Yeah.
LaShawn McCoy, he's got Tolbert stealing his goal line carries, but he's the man. And Jordan Howard proved that he's still the man in Chicago. It's just Cohen isn't going away either.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying Tariq Cohen equals LaShawn McCoy, but just when you look at his usage through the first 3 games, he's caught, let me give you a stat lines. Week one, he got 5 carries for 66 yards and caught 8 catches on 12 targets for 47 yards and a TD, scored 21.3. Week 2, he had 7 carries for 13 yards, but then also caught 8 balls for 55 yards. And it's, again, half-point PPR. He's being targeted heavily in Chicago because they don't have a lot of good options in receiving game. And then last week, 12 carries for 78 yards and then 4 catches. So, I mean, through 3 weeks, this is a running back that has 20 catches. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, it's impressive.
So I really do. His points are 21.3, 8.8, and 12.2. I feel like his floor is right in that 8 to 10 point range. And Christian McCaffrey had it. So a little bit of a gamble, but still, the point is, I think I was unlucky for Christian McCaffrey to go off and outscore both of those guys in any given week.
Oh yeah, if you guys took like a board bet for rest of season, you would easily win that.
Yeah, and I like Christian McCaffrey, but really my main point is that Carolina hasn't figured out how to really take advantage of him yet. So, whatever. It is what it is. When Maya gets back, we'll, maybe on Friday we'll figure out how to settle the bet. But I thought you might be a little interested in that. Let's just touch on a couple of games. Probably want to ask you about a few players here. We did talk about the LA San Francisco game on Friday's show, but did you want to talk about that at all? I mean, did you watch Thursday night game last week?
No, Thursday night I don't even remember what I was doing, but I was super busy. All I remember is going and looking at the fantasy app saying, what the fuck happened in this game? I'm really mad I missed it, because it was a game that no one expected, and it was just you don't expect fantasy points like that out of that matchup ever.
Nope.
So it was cool to see, but I was also up against Sam with Carlos Hyde, and that wasn't fun to see. But yeah, that was an impressive game.
I watched that game from start to finish by myself, and I couldn't believe it. I was texting those guys this game is so fucking sick. It was so good, dude. It was one of the best games we'll probably see all year. It was so good. And yeah, the fantasy points, just I didn't even bother playing in any DraftKings lineups because I didn't get anything in before Thursday, and it's you know what I mean? there was going to be so many good lineups in there with fucking Todd Gurley and Sammy Watkins, and I do have Pierre Garçon in a league though, so that was nice. I have him in 2 leagues, and I sat him in 1 actually. Now that I think about it, that sucked. But anyway, it was a really awesome game. Not too much to talk about fantasy-wise. I think just one of those freaky games where people just score on each other like mad.
Well, yeah, because I think most of us believe the Rams have one of the better fantasy defenses almost year in, year out for the last, I don't know, 5 years or so.
Mm-hmm.
And so you see them matching up against the 49ers with Brian Hoyer as quarterback, and you're like, you know what? That's probably a top 5 play. Like, I should, if I've got the Rams like I do in 2 leagues, I played them. And you know what happens is you end up with negative, or like, I think I had 2 points, but
yeah,
it was just not expected.
Freaky match. I don't want to go over every single game, but I'll tell you one guy I sat was T.Y. Hilton. Boy, what a game. He had 24 fantasy points in my league. And he hadn't done anything through the first 2 weeks. You know what I mean? Scott Tolzien couldn't do anything with him. And then Jacoby Brissett didn't really hook up with him. So fuck me. I sat him week 3. And I'm driving home from the casino, and I actually had Sam on the phone, and he's telling me T.Y. Hilton ended up with 7 catches for 153 yards and a TD. Jesus Christ. Are you kidding me? The point is, T.Y. Hilton will be in my lineup. I want to touch on
that a little bit.
Go ahead. Do it.
Yeah, so if anyone is in a situation where they've got the guys like on a week 5 bye, because there's like 4 starting QBs on a week 5 bye. If you don't have a second QB, Jacoby Brissett, man, like if you watched him since he took over, he's running the ball now. I know the TDs aren't going to happen every week, but he's clearly got some chemistry with Hilton. Mm-hmm. And then he's getting like 8 carries a game. So he's taken off with it. So he's one of those guys that you could stream for week 5 and probably get 20 points out of him easily.
Yeah, that's a good call. I can see that. Really, I just wanted to kind of, I don't know, make fun of myself a little bit and say that he'll be back in my starting lineup weekly now. Like, I'm not going to risk. That's the type of game I was envisioning when I drafted him. And then just based on my options, like Kelvin Benjamin had a juicy matchup, and he ended up getting hurt. You know what I mean? So I had Kelvin Benjamin in there, and then Des Bryant, which turned out to be a fine play, and then Devontae Parker, which also was a great play. Some of it was garbage time, but that doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Tell that to the Jaguars the last few years. No, really.
Honestly, like, yeah, T.Y., you didn't want to touch him till Luck came back. Like, that's kind of like the mindset going into the season. And now, like, yeah, you got fucked for week 3, but now you know, like, he can be valuable even without Luck. So it's worth plugging him in, especially because Devontae Parker, he's got some potential, but I think you got more consistency with Hilton than him. And I mean, Benjamin's done anyway, so there's your plug-in.
Yeah, exactly. Fucking Kelvin Benjamin. Fuck Carolina. I don't like them. You had a real burner with Houston at New England. Brandon Cooks finally showed up to the party. How about that?
Oh yeah, man. Like, that game, first of all, like, what, I don't understand where these offenses came from this week. With LA, San Francisco, and Houston, like, Jacksonville made Houston, I think they had like 30 yards in the first half against Jacksonville. Is New England's defense just that bad?
Yes, it's their passing defense, especially. It sounds crazy because you think about their corners. I mean, no one should be throwing on them at all, right? I mean, what a what a great secondary they've got there. Yet they're just, for some reason, they can't stop shit. Brandon Cooks, 5 catches, 131 yards, and 2 TDs. I mean, that's what everyone was waiting for. Gronkowski does his thing, 8 catches, 89 yards, finds the end zone. Chris Hogan, 4 catches, 68 yards, 2 TDs. Tom Brady had 378 yards and 5 passing TDs.
Yeah, he's pretty much telling everyone from week 1 to fuck off that called him old.
And I did not jump on that bandwagon. When Maya wanted to, like, see, fucking Tom Brady. And I said, dude, have we not learned? Seriously, every fucking year, Tom Brady has a game like this, and everyone's like, yep, Father Time, there it is. Couldn't last forever. Dude, until Tom Brady fucking, doesn't win the AFC East and find himself in the AFC Championship, then shut the fuck up. Tom Brady is the GOAT. It's not anyone that disputes it anymore is stupid, and anyone that rules him out when he loses a game, it just shows how good he's been for so long that, you know what I mean? Like, they lose a game pretty convincingly, and people are like, "Oh, it's over." Like, everyone loses games, man.
It's one fucking game. That's the thing. Is you're exactly right. Everyone expects New England. I mean, the prediction was for them to go undefeated for the year. Who the fuck has that kind of a prediction leading into a season besides the Patriots? No one.
And they had just lost Julian Edelman, you know what I mean? They had a new running back. Like, they need to figure some of that stuff out. But you've got the best coach ever, and you've got the best QB ever. They'll be fine. They're going to go 12-4, 13-3. The only thing I'm worried about, and I'll touch on this more, but the only thing I'm worried about for them is I think Kansas City looks legit like they could go 13-3 or 14-2 and host, you know what I mean, home field advantage in the playoffs. And that's going to be tough for anyone to go into Arrowhead and win. You know what I mean? I think, look, New England's right back where they need to be. They'll get the defense, I think, figured out. But the offense is clicking. Tom Brady's still GOAT. I wish I had more Patriots action on my fantasy teams than I do. But it is what it is. Like, you know what I mean? Tom Brady went really early in drafts this year. Just to add to that point, like, I think two teams really have kind of played head and shoulders above the rest of the league so far. You can say what you want, but Kansas City, I think, on the AFC side, I didn't want to overreact after week 1, but they've just played good ball all 3 weeks. They're 3-0. Kareem Hunt is the real deal. They managed to draft, someone that could potentially be even better than Jamal Charles to replace Jamal Charles. Yeah, it's like, what the fuck? Are you kidding me? I just look at my team and go, like, how can you guys not find these players? Like, fucking fire your scouting department. Like, they had Jamal Charles all those years, and then Kareem Hunt comes in, and he's just going to do it all over again. You know what I mean? It's insane. But Alex Smith is good. Tyreek Hill's a good weapon. Kelsey's a good weapon. Their defense is out of control. I mean, Justin Houston's terrorizing QBs. They're going to win a lot of games, man. A lot of games.
Well, when you look at it, even this past week, they still dominated the game, and Travis Kelce had 1 yard on 1 reception.
Yep.
So they don't even. It used to be like they needed to be clicking with Kelce, with Charles, or Spencer Ware, whoever it was, and get something out of Tyreek Hill in the game to win, like to get some offense. Now, Tyreek Hill is a route runner. He's getting open all over the field. You have Kareem Hunt, who, dude, that dude's just fucking. He's record breaking already. Like, there's only one other person that has done what he's done in the first 3 games of their career since 1950. So it's just, it's insane. Like, Alex Smith looks like when they've drafted Mahomes, he's like, well, you want me to throw the fucking deep ball? Here, I'll show you how to throw a fucking deep ball. And that's what he started doing, man. Like, And that defense is always legit.
By the way,
one of the best corners.
I have Kareem Hunt on one of my fantasy teams, and that team's 3-0. You know what I mean? It's just like, and like the way things are shaping up, I expect to win that league. Really do. Like, knock on wood, assuming health doesn't become an issue. But he's just that much of a difference maker in fantasy this year. And it shows on tape too. It's not fluky. Like, he is that talented. And Andy Reid will use him. He'll get all the touches. It's just like, fuck. And he was on my radar, but he went in the 4th round in my big money league. Like, that's just, you know what I mean? I couldn't do it there. Spencer Ware wasn't even ruled out for the season yet, and he was already going off the board. But I'm rambling. The point is, we agree. Like, if you watched that Chargers game, they were getting outgained almost 2-1 in yards, but that's the problem, is they can beat you anyway. Like, the defense was getting takeaways, even though the Chargers were marching down the field. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It just doesn't. They're one of the most well-rounded teams in the league right now, and they're making a statement. And I really think it'll be them versus Patriots in the AFC Championship. We got a preview of that in the opening game of the year.
I'm not sold yet on the AFC Championship because I still think a team like Oakland, their secondaries look better. I don't think what happened on Sunday night is the norm for Derek Carr. So I think Oakland's still going to be in that competition. And honestly, the way Trevor Siemian has looked, if that defense is the Denver defense we know, that offense doesn't need to be better than it has been, and they could get there. So I'm not there. Like, that AFC West is fucking tough, man. Like, there's a lot of good teams in the AFC.
There are. I still, like, I'm just, and it's a long season. Things can change. I'm just kind of I'm giving my week 3 hot takes. And through 3 weeks, no one's looked better. They've beaten teams.
I can agree with that. Yeah.
Solid team. So I really think they're going to be there in the AFC Championship. And then let me just take it to the NFC. Like, who's playing better in the NFC than the Falcons right now? Yep.
I don't know, man. Like, it's the thing too is, like, they're winning some close games, so it's like they're doing enough to win, and they've looked a little sloppy.
Yeah, exactly. Like they haven't even been firing on all cylinders. And I'm not asking you to call Super Bowl winners right now, because anything can happen. But just through 3 weeks in the NFC, can you think of anyone that's looked better?
No. I would put Atlanta, and of course it's the 2 undefeated teams, but I'd put Atlanta and KC, right, like on the top. They're looking like, if the Super Bowl was tomorrow, those would be the 2 best teams playing each other.
Yeah. I mean, Green Bay just got beat by Cincinnati at home. Like, what? That's inexcusable. I'm sorry. Like, you can't even. We make excuses for teams when they travel, but when you let a fucking team like Cincinnati that hadn't even scored a touchdown walk into your house, and Fat Mike McCarthy needs to be fucking fired immediately, because he is shit.
I need to interrupt you real quick because Olga is saying I look familiar to her, and Becca asked if she was watching porn again.
Were you watching porn again?
Backdoor Babes 9, that's where you saw me.
Oh my God.
Kidding.
Becca said not the Packers. What do you mean not the Packers? The thing is, like, you know how much love I have for Aaron Rodgers. I mean, he's right up there with Tom Brady when it comes to, the best QBs in the game right now. He's amazing. But they got to right that ship, and quick. They got a great rookie corner, that Kevin King guy. Like, he's doing work. But, I mean, Cincinnati just came in and worked you in your own house. Like, you fix that shit right now, or you're not going to be in the NFC Championship.
Honestly, I'm with you on, like,
Go ahead.
I'm with you on Mike McCarthy. Like, you look at that defense, it's not like they're missing so much of the talent that they had when they were just wrecking the league with turnovers and sacks. It's like Clay Matthews, they don't utilize him the way they used to, and you're seeing it because they don't have the pass rush like they used to have, and they don't force turnovers like they used to. And so, thing on Rodgers with a shitty offensive line, and so you see what comes from that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. I expect more. I want to see more out of them. They got to fix that. It's a travesty. Look, they're not my team. I'm an Eagles fan. The only person I want to see win in the NFC is the Eagles. But like, you are wasting Aaron Rodgers' talent. Like that's a guy that should be retiring with at least 3 rings. You know what I mean? And he's got 1. Like, get your shit together. Build teams around this fucking guy.
I mean, look at their offense. They have so many weapons.
Mike McCarthy is one of the worst coaches. Fire McCarthy is fucking terrible. He's holding back your Hall of Fame QB. You know what? And I'll tell you this much. You can call me biased, but no team doesn't have issues, including the Eagles. They've got issues. Right now, their main issue is health. Like especially in the secondary. Ronald Darby's out for 4 to 6 weeks. So he's got at least 2 more weeks that he's not playing. And then Sidney Jones, who we drafted, who could potentially be our best cornerback. He's not going to play at least until mid-October. And it just depends on how that comes along. And then Fletcher Cox and Jordan Hicks got hurt this last week. It's a big blow to the defense, all these injuries. But still, I mean, they're 2-1, and I think they've beaten, they beat a good Redskins team on the road, and then they took care of business, where they needed to against the Giants. And they played a close game on the road at Arrowhead. You know what I mean? And lost by 7 points to who I think is playing the best ball in the league, the Kansas City Chiefs. I really think as the Eagles get healthy and they continue to figure this out, I mean, they're going to start looking more and more dominant. I'll make my prediction now, you know what I mean? And we'll revisit in a few weeks and see if I know what I'm talking about. But, I was looking at the NFL power rankings today. They got moved up to 6th, and I kind of agree with that.
The Eagles are 6th?
Uh-huh.
Where's Jacksonville on those power rankings?
You got moved up 8 spots to number 14.
Man, so much fucking hate.
Well,
hey, to answer Becca here, yeah, we know that the Packers won, but Cincinnati has looked like absolute Christ this season on offense. Yeah. And so the fact that they scored 24 points, the Packers defense is in trouble.
Yeah. It just wasn't a close game. It wasn't a close game at all. I mean, wasn't it like 14-0 at one point, Cincinnati?
Yeah.
And there was that clip going around the internet yesterday where, like, Aaron Rodgers looks over at Mike McCarthy and, says, stupid fucking call. Like, you know what I mean? They win in spite of Mike McCarthy, not because of Mike McCarthy. That's my point. It's like, yeah, they won, but they almost didn't. You know what I mean? Anyway. Yeah. I like the Packers. I'm not beating up on the Packers. I enjoy watching Packers games. But they never should have been in it. I mean, fucking Baltimore held them to nothing. Complete shutout. All right. What was I talking about now? The Eagles? Yeah, the Eagles.
We're talking about power rankings.
Oh, yeah. So, well, whatever. You got moved up 8. You lost that Titans game. So, like, they moved you up, and then you got moved down again, and now you've been moved up again. You win a couple more games that you're going to be knocking on the top 10. You're right now at 14, and I think that's fair because these power rankings start out basically how they end the previous year. You know what I mean? So, like, a team like yours is already fighting its way up from being ranked like 27th or 28th in the league.
Yeah, that's fair.
That's a lot through 3 weeks. I mean, a couple of really convincing wins. Who do you guys play next week? Do you know?
God, I'm fucking choking. Let me pull it up real fast. Jesus Christ. How did I... Oh, we got the Jets. That's right. So, like, if you look, Josh McCown has the worst matchup against the Jacksonville defense. So we go at New York, at Pittsburgh, and then bring the Rams home for the next 3 weeks.
I think that at Rams game is actually winnable.
I do too.
If you find yourself at 3-1, now we're talking, bud. All right, let's get wrapped up here. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, if we can come out of that Rams game at 4-2, so if we lose one more, maybe at Pittsburgh, that's gonna be a tough game. But we can win versus the Rams in LA, like 4-2. I feel good. Then we got Indianapolis, so, and then it's a bye, so we could be 5-2 going into a bye week, and that's upwards, man. Looking good for the playoffs.
I could see that. I could definitely see that. Let's preview Thursday's game then before we wrap up.
Okay.
Bears at Packers. Actually kind of intriguing. I mean, the Bears have played some tight games with good teams, Atlanta, and they actually just beat the Steelers. So, I mean, they're kind of sneaky, not bad. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. The Bears have surprised me, honestly. I thought they were going to be absolute shit this year.
Yeah.
To be honest. I thought Jordan Howard would be like what he was last year, but I thought everything else would be garbage. And honestly, Jordan Howard and Tariq Cohen have good matchups against Green Bay this week. So, Chicago could win.
They could. This is actually a game I think Aaron Rodgers is going to go nuts. I actually have the Packers. I have the Packers scoring a lot of fucking points in this game. I know I just got done ripping. It's really it's more just Mike McCarthy hate than anything. I love Aaron Rodgers. I love Ty Montgomery. Love Jordy. Love Randall Cobb. Love Devontae Adams. It's all good stuff. I hate Mike McCarthy. He's terrible. And he's why you guys haven't won like 5 championships in the last 8 years.
I mean, it's a rivalry game, and Rodgers, he always shows up in the NFC North games, man. So
always.
Yeah, I agree. He's gonna. If anything, the Bears' defense is not gonna hold him back. It could be a scoring game though, because that Packers defense is garbage.
Yeah, that's true, but they don't really have much in the passing game anyway. The Bears have given themselves a little credibility the last few weeks, just with how they've played some tough teams, but they're gonna get knocked down a few in the power rankings after this one. I think it's gonna be a blowout. I'm excited to get my Ty Montgomery action going again after a slow game against the Bengals. Any Rodgers owners, they're gonna be loving life. And I don't expect it to be particularly close, to be honest with you. I'm thinking like it's going to be one of those nuts games where Aaron Rodgers just like in the first half they're up 28 points. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Over or under 3.5 touchdowns for Rodgers.
I'll take over.
Okay. Well, just because I have to be the contrarian here, I'm going to go under. I'll say he has 3. I think Ty Montgomery has 2.
I hope so. Yeah. I dropped to 2-1 in my big money league, so I'm ready to get that ship corrected. I've got good matchups this week. We'll talk more about those on Friday, but we covered the Thursday game. Anything else we need to cover from last week other than Stephon Diggs is the man, dude. He is legit the fucking man. I have him in one league, and I tried getting him in another one, and I couldn't get a deal done. I believed in him from the jump, and not just because I'm, all knowing, all seeing, but I've seen some really convincing stuff about him in the offseason and leading up to drafts that sold me that his big games last season weren't just an aberration and that he's actually the real deal. He is the real deal, dude. He is an absolute fucking star. And I would say if you can trade for him in any of your leagues, go get him.
Yeah, honestly, like I agree with you. He's a target monster. Surprisingly, he's not even in the top 10 targets for the season. But like he's proven it doesn't matter who's throwing him the ball. So the fact that you can count on Case Keenum to look his way for 11 targets last week, like that's huge. So yeah, I agree. Like he's a good one to get, but he's got some tough matchups coming up too, though.
It's just one of those weird things. Like I didn't know. It's similar to T.Y. Hilton. Like these backup QBs come in and they don't find the chemistry right away. So you're like, you give up on worrying about that player. I sat T.Y. Hilton. I didn't sit Stephon Diggs in the one league I own him, and then all of a sudden it's, they find that chemistry and dude, he's going to put up a lot of points this year if he stays healthy. A lot of points.
Yeah, I agree.
And
I have him in my Dynasty League, and I scored 196 points, and it's a half-point PPR Dynasty League.
And people drafted him for way cheap this year, so.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, loving Stephon Diggs. And I like the Vikings, It's nice to see that. I'm a huge Sam Bradford believer, but if Case Keenum can get his shit together and play mistake-free football and throw some deep balls, then that team is right in the mix. I can't wait to see. In fact, let me just look real quick. When do the Vikings and the Packers play? Because that's a game I want to see.
Week 10, 14, I think.
Oh, really? Not until
week
then,
6. Huh? Week 6.
Okay, week 6. Nice.
It's not that far away. And it's at Minnesota.
Oh, yeah. Fuck. That's going to be a damn good game. God damn.
By the way, is Bradford going to be back by then?
He could be. Eagles have a Thursday night game coming up October 12th at Panthers. If they fucking lose that game, I'm just about done. No, I'm serious. That team is decimated. They are not playing well at all. Cam Newton looks like shit. Kelvin Benjamin could still be out. Like they said, there was no major damage, but still he could be recovering 2 weeks from now. And no Greg Olsen. Like seriously, if my team fucking shits that game, then I'm fucking moving to the Raiders.
If Carolina has anything, it's their defense has played well this year. But Cam Newton he's regressed since his MVP season, man. He looks like absolute shit. I wouldn't trust him. I'd fucking look at dropping his ass in a league if I had him. I wouldn't touch him.
I do have him in one league, and I'm already looking at options. Because it's that bad. I don't know what the fuck's happened there. But as far, just on a tangent here, the Eagles they're about to play their third away game in the first 4 weeks. They're going to have 4 home games over the course of 5 weeks coming up after this. So I'm excited for them to, hopefully pull down some wins at home. It's going to be good.
If you guys come out of this 3-1, like that's,
yep.
Yeah, you're set up, man. Play in Philly.
Absolutely.
It'd be nice for you, me, and Nick all to have playoff-bound teams or potential, like by the end of the season.
Yep, absolutely. Well, God damn, how does the time fly so fast when we're talking football? I just want to thank you for coming on, Chris. And I thought it was going to be you, me, and Maya, but Maya couldn't make it. So the show wouldn't have happened tonight without you. So thank you. We'll have you on again sometime soon, hopefully. And thanks to all the viewers that joined from the other channel and came over and hung out with us here. Make sure you click the like button, the subscribe button. tell your friends, tell your family. And you'll see us back here Friday night at 9 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. Thank you so much for watching Fantasy Football and Not Suitable for Work. And for Bill and Chris, you guys have a great night.
Thanks, guys.